Hey guys, welcome to our task number 5. Now we're going to create a digital magazine about events in the past. As you know, this is going to be both individual and collaborative activity, so you have to make sure that you accomplish some deadlines in order for you guys to work great with your classmates. The purpose of this activity is for you to develop your competences in regarding to describe in writing stories with verbs in past. And you guys are going to use technology to present your academic product. So what you have to do first is that you're going to study the contents of units 6, 7, 8, and 9, okay? Which are pretty much consistent to the past simple and how we should structure those sentences. After you study this, you're going to go to step number 2, and you're going to choose one of these lists. Okay, you can go with errands and routines, you can go with school, you can go with language learning, you can go with entertainment or night out, and at last we got health. Okay, so you're going to choose one of these categories and you're going to make sure that you post in the forum. Okay, so I'm going to choose, for instance, the school category. This because as there are 5 categories and you guys are 5 in the group, you're not supposed to repeat. Okay, so the first one that calls out the topic first is going to get it. Then you're going to start writing a story in past tense, okay? Make sure that you create a story, not just make like routine sentences, but that you create something with a beginning, with a problem, and then with an ending so that it is consistent to how stories are written. Then you're going to post that story in the forum. You're not going to attach any files, but you're going to just put the plain text in the forum. This story should be in past, and it has to include all the verbs of that list that you selected. Okay, so in the case of the first list with errands and routines, when you make your story, you need to make sure that your verb clean is cleaned because it's in past, and then water, watered, and then vacuum, vacuumed, and so on with the other ones. So each of the verbs that you're going to present has to be in past. Okay? Then what you're going to do is that you're going to check your partner's stories and you're going to give feedback. Remember that feedback should be respectful and it should be also meaningful. After you have done the revision and you have gone through the comments of your classmates, you're going to edit your text if it's necessary, and you're going to create a PowerPoint file. Okay, this part is super important because it has to be in a PowerPoint. Try please creating a slide that is catchy, that it calls the attention. So to do so, use images, you use pictures, you use photographs that are, of course, in agreement with what your story is about. And at last, in this first individual part, you're going to choose one of the roles. You have to be very careful because when you choose roles, you need to make sure that you check this video below the characteristics of each of those roles, okay? So in case, for instance, that you come over here and you decide that you're going to work with the role alert, you need to make sure that at least you present 3 different screenshots showing that you actually participated actively in accomplishing that role. Okay, so make sure that you check the instructions below. Now, concerning the collaborative part, what you're going to do is that you're going to design an online magazine. This part is going to be important, and you need to take into account that that PowerPoint file that you're going to create, you have to create it vertically, okay? Try not using horizontally, because then when you're going to create your magazine, it's going to be a little weird that it's that way, horizontal, okay? So just try making sure that your PowerPoint file is vertical. And what you're going to do is that you guys are going to create a PowerPoint presentation that it's going to include all those stories that you created previously. The website that we're going to use, it allows only from 10 to 15 slides to create the magazines. So you need to make sure that when you're creating your PowerPoint files, you don't do more than 3 slides, okay? 1 or 2 or 3, no more than that, because then you won't have the opportunity of converting that file into the magazine that you have to present. Make sure that all of you guys get to see the magazine before turning it into a PDF file, okay? And once again, you got to make sure that you accomplish all the details that the roles you chose have. Okay, so I'm going to give like some specific orientations of what each of those roles is going to have to do for this task. Once you have agreed that your PowerPoint is ready to become a magazine, you're going to go to this website, flipsnack.com, okay? And you're going to create your magazine. So what you're going to do is you have this PowerPoint that you're going to convert into a PDF file, and that PDF file is going to become your magazine at last. Remember, and this is super important, remember that you can only have top 15 slides. After you create your online magazine, only the group submitter, the person that chooses that role, is going to post this magazine in the forum. So in case that you have to make any other extra arrangements, you still have some time to do so. At last, you're going to send me the PowerPoint presentation with all of these slides from each of the participants. And at the end, the last slide is going to be the link to that magazine that you're going to get from FlipSnack, okay? You need to make sure that only the submitter is going to send it to the monitoring and evaluation environment. If for any reasons you guys decide that you're going to work alone, just let me know in advance so that I can take this into account. It is super important that you check this evaluation rubric to make sure that your presentation has all of the items that are going to be evaluated. So grammar should be accurate. There shouldn't be many major grammar errors, okay? And you gotta make sure that you include all the 20 verbs and all of those verbs are in past. It doesn't matter if you want to work with past simple, or if you want to go with past participle, or if you want to go with past progressive. That is up to you guys, but just make sure that they are in past tense. Then the spelling should be accurate. One of the things that I always suggest is that before you actually use PowerPoint, you can use Word and you copy and paste your text there, and then you can check with the orthographic corrector that you don't have any major spelling mistakes. At last, you need to check your punctuation, so make sure that you already know this and how this goes, but you need to make sentence, then stop, then another sentence, then stop. In English, it is a bit different from Spanish because we don't rely in commas as much as we do in Spanish. So you need to make sure that you rely a little bit more in stops than in commas. And regarding the collaborative part, okay, you need to comment your partner's idea. So make sure that you give feedback to at least 3 of your partners if you want to get the whole 5 points. Okay. If you comment only to 1 or 2 partners, then you're only going to get 3 points. So make sure that you give some very good feedback to your group mates. The online magazine should be eye-catching. That means that it should be like boom, like you're going to watch that and it's going to be incredible. So make sure that you choose images that are in connection with what the text is saying and that they are like super interesting for the reader. The online magazine usability is just making sure that the navigation of the site is going to be clear, that the links are going to be straightforward, that it's going to be accessible, and more important than that, make sure that the link is working before you send it. Uh, I have had some difficulties with some of your links from the videos because you don't like double check that the link is working. So make sure that this time you double check that it's actually good. And at last, you're going to have 5 points because the document is going to include all the suggested items. Okay, so remember that the suggested items are the slides, okay, preferably vertically, no horizontally, that you guys are going to include pictures or photographs or photos or whatever you want to use to make it eye-catchy, and that it's going to include your link to the magazine that you guys created, okay? This activity is worth 45 points, okay? And you are not going to get the same scores as your classmates. You can do and you can have the same scores if your individual activity is as good as your other classmates. But if there are some differences on one student's activity and other students' activity, then your percentage of grade it's probably going to be different. Okay, thank you for watching these videos. If you have any extra questions, you know that you can text me on WhatsApp, you can send me a message over the emails platform, or you can just share your questions here in the forum, okay? Below this video, you're going to find the Spanish version of this in case you guys want to check that out. And if you have any questions, please let me know, okay? See you around, guys. Bye-bye.